Well, I think probably, as everybody will see, we didn't have as much possession as City, but yeah, I think we had them quite contained. We were very, very good on the break. What we want to do now is just move up a little bit, try and get a little bit more pressure on the ball, slightly higher, but continue to get the ball wide and try and cause them as much problems as we did in the first half in the wide areas.
And any messages to your player about Marco Tilio dropping into that space and being able to turn?
Yeah, well, we've mentioned also to Elvis and Ben Falami just to slide in, be a little bit narrower. That might allow us then to get more pressure on the ball, because certainly that was a feature of the first half.
And you've brought Jay Barnett on for Jake Brimmer. The strategy behind that?
Well, Jake's been suffering a little bit from an upset stomach, and he's just really empty now, so it's really more protection and getting Jay Barnett on.
Thanks, Steve.
No problem.
All right, there you have confirmation that Jay Barnett coming on for Jake Brimmer. Can Melbourne Victory find a point this afternoon to avoid that wooden spoon? Job half done. Plenty of football to be played. Luna chests it down. Butterfield intercepts. Here's Falami, who was one of Melbourne Victory's better players in that first half. Looking for the free kick. He won't get it, but he does win the throw.
I actually thought it was a free kick because he just seemed to get it caught a little bit late.
Yeah, you're right. He does call it back. Sean Evans, a referee this afternoon. Scott Galloway didn't agree. Here's Broxham for Storm Roux. Can't find the pass Roux, and Raphael did well to close down the space.
And you hear from Steve Keane, he just wants his team to push a little bit higher up. Don't let Melbourne City dictate the speed of the play. Have easy possession in that front third. And when we've seen Melbourne Victory do that, they're actually a lot better, and they have more possession in that front third and create more opportunities.
Here's Jay Barnett. Heard Steve King talk about lack of possession in that first half. Melbourne City almost 60% of the ball in the first 45. Can Victory turn that around? Storm Roux with a heavy touch, and Raphael. Welcome to senior football, young man. That's the first strong challenge. Storm Roux goes into the book.
And it was a really heavy touch from Storm Roux. Did well to create the space, but it was a beautiful run and touch from Raphael. Gets himself in front of the player. And Storm Roux had to bring him down there because the way that Melbourne Victory were out of their structure.
What about Raphael? Be a bit sore tomorrow. Year 12, probably got exams coming up. Walk back into Parade College tomorrow morning with a few bruises.
I'm guessing his mates were probably carrying him, knowing that he's created a bit of history for himself and his family. 15 years old, playing A-League football. 17, sorry.
Max Caputo's 15. We may see him soon.
They're just getting younger and younger. I don't know who's 15, I don't know who's 17, but funny story about Max Caputo. Diego Ferreira, ex-teammate of mine, A-League player, was doing a lot of 1v1 training with him early on. And he actually came to one of my holiday programs with
You're taking credit.
Diego Ferreira, yeah. So, look, I think we'll have to do more, Diego.
Free kick here awarded to Melbourne City. Adrian Luna making his way back up into his feet. Plays a quick one. Ball called back to Barkey. Says why. We had a nice little run on it there. Sean Evans says no. Let's bring it back. Yellow card. Let's note that in the book. So 2 yellow cards early on in this second half. Adama Traore and Storm Rue going into Sean Evans' book.
Adama Traore got to be a bit careful in those sort of situations. We've seen in the last derby, that 50-50 challenge out wide, he gets himself sent off. Really dangerous area to concede, especially with the quality of delivery from Florent Berengay.
Matt Acton had plenty to do in that first half. Some outstanding saves to keep Melbourne victory level here. Berengay with a terrific ball in. Nuno Reis made a good run. Couldn't get enough purchase on it to keep the header down.
Again, it was a beautiful ball in from Florent Berengay, just in a real dangerous area. The way that Nuno Reis was attacking that ball was always going to be hard to generate any sort of direction on it when you're almost going towards the ball, away from goal.
Cam Sober does well to fend off Scott Jamieson. Nice pass by Barnett for McManaman. Now Rue for Barnett. Cam Sober, just heavy, too heavy for Storm Rue. That was promising, though, for Melbourne victory.
This is probably the part of the game that Cam Sober needs to improve on. It's just that passing and touches to bring other players in, because that was such a good opportunity to break. One thing we haven't really seen too much of Melbourne victory is that really combination plays out wide to be able to deliver balls into areas for Just Ed. He's had quite a quiet game so far.
Galloway. Now Aidan O'Neill. This ball cut out by Cam Sober. Can he keep it in play here? He can. Elvis Cam Sober with some space. This is where he's at his most dangerous. Elvis onto his left. Now finds the pass. McManaman tries to find the shot. Well, cut down. Tilio doing it all this afternoon. Getting behind the ball and the defensive block.
It was a really nice cushioned header from Cam Sober to cut that out. Ran onto it. You can hear the screams from the bench. 1v1 attack. But Melbourne City did really well to get back in numbers.
Falami, terrific. Here's Traore. Now the run from McManaman. Just Stead wanted the ball in the middle. Adama Traore perhaps choosing the wrong option that time.
Real first time that we've seen any Melbourne victory player get into those wide areas, not under pressure to be able to deliver a ball. Callum McManaman was just caught behind the man, but that was that touch that Cam Sober was probably needing over this side, that Ben Falami played in for Adama to attack. See, that was a handball.
Race for O'Neill. And that time Luna couldn't control it, but stolen back here for Melbourne City. O'Neill. Tilio with the shot. Handball the call. Play on. Galloway inside the area. Dangerous here. Tabaki. And it takes a deflection. And Melbourne City take the lead. They've been huffing and they've been puffing, and eventually Melbourne's victory, their defensive house, has been blown away 1-0 to City.
Well, it was the error from Adama Traore that gave possession away on the 18-yard box. But how many times have we seen Scott Galloway attack the 18-yard box? Adama was caught within two minds whether to follow the man out wide, and that low, hard cross, always so difficult to defend. For any defenders, you get a little touch on it, can always deflect the goal, and that's what's happened there. But it was a beautiful run that was laid off by Scotty Galloway, and Sabaki was just a really hard, low cross. There's not too much that Nicky Ansell could do there, but it was the giveaway from Adama Traore that almost compounded that pressure for Melbourne victory.
So City take the lead through a Nick Ansell own goal. And all of a sudden, the prospect of their first ever wooden spoon looms large. Jamieson rode high. Ball falls for Cam Sober. Can they find a quick response? Falami with the first time effort. Had time to take a shot, a chance, a touch, and then the shot. Ben Falami decided first time, Archie, and perhaps rushed it.
Again, Elvis Sober does really well to pick out a player. I feel like he took the right option there, because for Tommy Glover, he probably wasn't expecting that shot first time. And every time a ball comes across, you always go the opposite way of where it comes from. But just where that started from, you can see Callum McManaman. I wonder if that gets played back, because he's almost leading into Scott Jamieson. You can see Paddy Gasnorbo blow up on the sideline that he didn't have really eyes for the ball.
So the result stays as it is. Melbourne Victory will finish bottom of the A-League table for the first time in 16 seasons of A-League football. Melbourne Victory fans watching at home tonight, hold on. It's going to be a big finish to this game. Galloway. Jamieson. They'll need to find a response. This is Raphael. Tilio. Loose pass by Marco Tilio. Now Jested in some space. Tilio looks to make amends, dives in. Doesn't give away a free kick. Jested can't believe it. Play continues. City come again. Tsubaki. Misses his pass. Traore will look to see that over the line. You can hear the reaction from the Melbourne City bench. They're not happy with that. They had another golden opportunity there down that right-hand side.
But it's a way Marco Tilio, his endeavour to get back and try to right that wrong, that he made that mistake with that ball back, and he made that challenge. And they end up winning the ball and stopping a potential attack. And that's what you want from your players. If they make a mistake, you want them to fight back to get that back, and he certainly did that.
Tilio looking for Berenguer on the return. Falls for Tilio again. 50-50 ball. Storm cuts it out and just clears his lines.
And this is a really important phase for Melbourne Victory. We talk about staying in games, and how many times this year we've seen maybe Melbourne Victory concede and then start to capitulate, and that's when Melbourne City get on top. I know when we talk about that game that was 7-0, they scored probably 3 or 4 of those towards the end of the game. For them, it's just keeping the game, keep putting the pressure on the ball, try to get up higher. When you get yourself in those opportunities with Cam Sober, lays the ball across, at least hit the target.
Austin Griffiths. Now Jamieson to Berenguer. Raphael made the run, it was ignored. Griffiths switches the play to Tsubaki. Nice movement. And Tsubaki cuts it inside. Luna. Galloway getting forward. You can see those inverted fullbacks we became accustomed to all season. Galloway, Jamieson coming into those central positions. Here's Jamieson about to receive. Another demonstration right there. Galloway. Now Tsubaki. Aidan O'Neill strikes. Ansell clears it. Traore finds a pass for Falami. Hasn't got much ahead of him, Ben Falami. Needs to go his own, and he does. Now Falami, terrific. Now Jested with a chance for Melbourne Victory. Jested puts it over the bar. That was a terrific opening. And what about that run from Ben Falami? He had plenty to do, found the pass. And Rudy Jested fluffed his lines.
Again, it was just a powerful run from Ben Falami. Plays it across the 18-yard box. It was a nice cushion touch from Jested, but he just couldn't keep it down. You almost thought that he could have maybe have hit it first time, but the ball just was played a little bit behind him. But these are the opportunities that Melbourne Victory need to take.
Yeah, they won't get many against this Melbourne City side. One of the best defensive records in the A-League this season. And that was their best chance to get this game back on level terms. Rudy Jested, 5 goals this season. 15th start this afternoon.
He did everything right there. He cushioned the touch, just bobbled a little bit, and he was almost leaning back when he was having that shot which projected the ball over the top of the bar. But Ben Falami again with a beautiful run. You can just see Lee Broxham really annoyed with the players in front of him, not giving him that outlet or opportunity. I think it might have been a conversation with Caleb McManaman, you know, being in that 10 role. You need to be in pockets, or you need to find space for that pass that's out.
So Patrick Isnorbo going to his bench for the first time this afternoon. Now Gitsubaki, who set up that first goal, he'll be credited with an assist there, made that terrific run and forced the own goal of Nick Ansell. Ben Caruccio enters the fray. Another new signing for Melbourne City. Just they've recruited well, and the depth in this squad, they're going to need every ounce of it come finals time.
All the players that have come in so far haven't really disappointed. I know we talk about the game against Brisbane. Like I've said, it's easy to kind of lose concentration when you know that you've sewed up the minor premiership. But that just, I can see the mindset of this Melbourne City team. It's easy to be complacent when you know you've sewed up a title already, and these games don't really matter too much.
The elimination finals, of course, speaking of finals, confirmed with Saturday seeing the Central Coast Mariners versus Macarthur 3v6. Is Traore making a run? And then next Sunday it's Brisbane v Adelaide 4v5. It's all coming up on Fox Sports next weekend. Of course, the teams finishing 1 and 2, Melbourne City and Sydney FC getting that first week of finals off. There's still one other fixture to be played, Melbourne City v Newcastle Jets. And that one is slated for next Friday. Here's Jacob Butterfield, who will try his luck from a distance. It falls for Jested! And Rudy Jested misses again. 2 chances within minutes for the Melbourne Victory striker.
Well, again, Jacob Butterfield just sees that opportunity to strike, and that ball in front, when it dips, it's so difficult for a keeper to kind of cushion it. But he did so well to make himself big to put off Jested as he was coming through.
And Tommy Gover got a foot on that, or got something on it. It's a corner.
And it was a wonderful save, because he knew he had to make it, but you could just see the ball dip right in front of him.
So Victory coming hard here. Butterfield. Griffiths with the header away. Jay Barnett goes down. Ball cleared. Traore. This ain't over yet. Victory pushing and pushing for an equaliser. Caruccio, terrific. Has Barnett to beat now. Stops and finds Berenguer.
You can start to see this game starting to open up. A lot more space. End-to-end stuff at the moment. And that plays into Melbourne Victory's hands when you can maybe pinch the ball and use that speed and pace out wide.
Tilio. Wasn't he electrifying in that first half? Marco Tilio hasn't had quite the influence in this second stanza yet. McManaman cushions the ball for Cam Sober. Couldn't take it under his control, Elvis. It's good defensive play by Falami. Almost won it for Melbourne. Here's Raphael for City now. Galloway and O'Neill. Can they make it a clean sweep, Melbourne City, this season in the derby? 6-0 the first, 7-0 the second. They lead 1-0 here. Socceroos boys will be watching this one in camp, especially the 3 Melbourne City players. Jamie McLaren, Curtis Good and Connor Metcalf all watching on from Kuwait. And don't leave us straight after this game. We'll cross live to Kuwait and speak to the Melbourne City new signing, the Socceroo Matthew Leckie, straight after this game here at Amy Park. The captain's armband, of course, for the Socceroos in their first game. And that 3-0 win over Kuwait. The next task for the Socceroos, Chinese Taipei on Tuesday morning. You can catch that one right here on Fox Sports, 5 a.m. Perfect time, Archie. Set the alarm early. Here's what's ahead of the Socceroos.
I need my beauty sleep, mate, so I don't know if I'll be up for that one. But look, they've had a great start already to their campaign. It's been a long time since they played football. What a wonderful performance against Kuwait. Good to see a couple of the A-League players feature. I know Ryan McGowan, I think, played a game almost during the week with Sydney FC and then backs it up with a 90-minute effort, which is always so difficult when you think of the conditions and the travel. But certainly Melbourne City players be watching from camp, because they'd be almost thinking, well, guys, we've set you up now. It's time for you to take it home.
And they're doing just that tonight. 7 changes from this side compared to the lineup against Brisbane last week. Garuccia. Trying to find Berenguer, a little heavy on the pass. Ben Garuccia, the substitute.
You can see there with Melbourne City, with that bit of possession, they're almost taking a little bit out of the game, because it was starting to get the end-to-end sort of stuff which really played in the Melbourne victory. Yeah, they got a bit more possession moving around.
Here's Adrian Luna from a distance. It was going to take something very special from that. Luna with 3 goals to his name this season. Just Ed nods it forward for McManaman. Just keeps it in play. Victory with plenty to play for in this last 23 minutes plus injury time. For Lamy, does he keep it in play? The flag goes up on the far side. Throw in Melbourne City.
Just kind of wondering when the introduction of maybe a Robbie Cruz, just to give a bit of spark in this Melbourne victory attack. Know that he could probably slot into that 10 role for Callum McManaman. Almost like a Tilio, he likes to pick up space and turn and attack. Also got Leighton Brooks, someone that's been electrifying when he's had that impact in a game. It's kind of the moments when you start to think about maybe making a substitution.
And Chan Villapillet as well, who has come off the bench in the last couple of outings for Melbourne victory, has been also exciting to watch. Here's Luna. Takes a deflection. And the linesman on the far side had to think about it, didn't he, before raising his flag and pointing it in the direction of Melbourne City. Corner kick.
I'll tell you what, he almost changed his mind when he was looking at the eyes of Jacob Butterfield, because he was disappointed that that was a corner. But he did really well to follow in Luna there, because Luna did make that late run. Had to make that challenge.
Melbourne victory need a win to avoid their worst ever result in a season for fewest wins. And they need something to avoid the wooden spoon. It's been a tough old year for victory supporters. Of course, there is an FFA Cup playoff to play after this one. That one's slated for next weekend as well. Jamison thought about the shot, decided against it, tried to find the pass. We could see what you were thinking, Scott. Tilio does that harassing work, is what I was trying to say, Archie. And what I've loved about his game is that defensive element as well. We saw him so good going forward in the first half, but that work to defend and press has been equally impressive.
And that's a mindset you want to instill in your young players. It's okay that, you know, to create, but sometimes you've got to do the dirty side of football, which is get back and defend. And Marco Tilio has done that tenfold today, because sometimes there's been a few sloppy passes, but his willingness to try to get back, that's one thing that when you think of players in A-Leagues, players that burst on the scene and probably miss that thing. I think of De Silva for Central Coast Mariners. He's added that to his game, and I think that's why he's having the season he's having too.
Here's Melbourne City going forward again. Galloway. Berenguer checked the shoulder, and coming over his shoulder was Elvis Kamsoba. They release early McManaman for Jess Sten. Nothing in support. He waits for the cavalry to arrive. Here it comes by Barnett. City win it back, O'Neill. Look at the space out on that right-hand side. Galloway. Now Raphael making his starting debut this afternoon, the 17-year-old. Scott Jamison, teammates with his dad at Adelaide United. What a terrific side story that is in this game. Melbourne Victory looking to go to their bench now, and just as we said, Archie, the three players we mentioned are about to make their way onto the park. Robbie Cruz, Ishan Villapille and Leighton Brooks all coming into the fray.
How easy is football? When you know, you just know. But look, they certainly did need a spark. And I think with Robbie Cruz, he just gives a bit more pace up front, a bit more directness. And that unpredictability from Brooks, Villapille, to be able to cause a bit of danger in that front third. You can see with Just Steady just held the ball up there, but there was no real attackers getting forward, and that's just probably down to tiredness. And I think the impact that these young guys can have now is important. What a wealth of young talent we have out there on show. Again, another wonderful story for this A-League season is the young talent that's coming through.
Robbie Cruz, first touch on the ball. His very good mate in Matthew Leckie, signing yesterday with Melbourne City. It's just been a lot of time together in Germany. Here's Brooks to Barnett. We've already seen the instant impact of the substitutes with the ball movement there.
Again, Leighton Brooks just shows his sharp feet, willingness to go 1v1. Probably not the right person to be playing in behind Jay Barnett when you think of speed and pace, but Leighton Brooks, again, just showing his quality.
Robbie Cruz making his first appearance in 3 games after picking up that injury in the game against MacArthur back in week 21. It's been an injury interrupted season for the Socceroo.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're trying to make an impact in this game. You know, like you said, just the injury hampered few couple of seasons for Melbourne Victory. We all know that a lot of these players are coming out of contract. Probably like to see Robbie Cruz go around again. I know there was a lot of pressure on him this year, especially with performances from the team, but I just feel like if he's with a team that he's allowed to enjoy his football, you certainly get the best out of him. You see Marco Tilio again, that willingness to try and close down.
What about that? A great warrior in Lee Broxham, 16 seasons in the A-League, and that commitment level hasn't waned at all. Winning that 50-50 ball, Marco Tilio making him earn it, the 19-year-old.
We talk about fighting, that would have been a featherweight bout for sure, but again, it's that willingness of Marco Tilio to close down, put his body in those sort of situations. But Lee Broxham, again, so solid in that position, you know, and hopefully, I don't know if word's out yet, if he's signed on, but again, to have someone of his quality, when you talk about positions and the amount of positions he can play.
That versatility, we spoke about it last week, Archie, and he gave us the strongest indication yet in the pre-game show last weekend that he would re-sign for Melbourne Victory next season. 33 years of age, the captain on the ball now. What a servant he's been for the club. Barnett was like pinball there. Bounced off a few and found its way back to Tommy Glover. Here's Luna. The overwrapping run from Raphael. He's worked hard, hasn't he? The young boy who, 17 years of age, he's put in a huge amount of work down that right-hand side. Started on the left, now playing on the right.
It was a beautiful ball from Scotty Galloway out to Luna. I think Luna just showed too much to Adama, asked a lot from Raphael, but Raphael's been outstanding. Such a tall ask to ask for any young player to come into a side like Melbourne City and hit the ground running. He hasn't looked out of place at all.
The ball goes out in his direction again. He's putting in the big ones now. I think he's almost done, Archie. He's a huge shift and a huge step up in level.
He'd have no problem wagging school because you wouldn't know, right? They're not quite allowed at schools at the moment with the restrictions.
Oh, no, I think the U12s are due back at school tomorrow, and the Year 11s.
Well, Cristiano, if you're listening, give him a day off. He's been outstanding.
I know the principal of Parade College is watching today, so he might give him a pardon.
Maybe you could flip him a few A's too.
Here's Jamison. Tries to find the back post. Nobody there making that run, and Matt Acton moves it along quickly. Almost found Robbie Cruz. Aidan O'Neill intercepts. Now Berenguer. Can they put that nail in the coffin, Melbourne City, and consign Melbourne Victory to their first ever wooden spoon? A second goal, and that'll be it. Jamison. Berenguer. Terrific ball. Now Galloway. Tilio and Raphael. Great combination again, that time the pass a little bit heavy. We saw them work so well together, especially in that first half. Patrick Isnorbo, I think, has seen enough and will go to his bench soon to get some fresh legs on. He's only made the one change, the Melbourne City boss, Ben Garuccio, coming on. Storm route for Butterfield. Robbie Cruz makes the run. Tom Glover reads it well and clears the danger.
Tommy Glover needs to be really alert there because that ball that got played in behind, Leighton Brooks and Robbie Cruz were closing down on it. That's that speed in behind.
Great to see Leighton Brooks out there again. He's made an impact, hasn't he, whenever he's come on for Melbourne Victory. There's Butterfield. It had some swerve on it. He scored from a similar position last week against Western United. Glover had to be very careful indeed.
Did really well to cushion that because it did have swerve Always so difficult for a goalkeeper.
6 clean sheets for Tommy Glover, looking to make it 7 this season. He will be away with Graham Arnold's side. And the Olyroos as they prepare for the Olympic Games in Tokyo in July. Jamison under pressure from Jested. Does well in a tight space. Luna tried the fancy back heel. Barnett read it. It falls fortuitously for Berenguer. Now Garuccio. Tilio in tight. Couldn't find the space. There's Villapille. Now Victory with a chance. Cruz makes the run. Brooks ignores it, sends it in the Jested direction, didn't have enough on it. It's a good tackle from Butterfield to win it back for Melbourne Victory. Cruz in 2 minds and gives it away, but it falls for Villapille. A couple of mistakes starting to creep in from both sides. 9 minutes plus injury time remaining. Can Victory find the equaliser? You might look at the table and think it means nothing. Well, it means plenty to this Melbourne Victory club. 16 seasons of A-League, have never finished with a wooden spoon.
It was a great opportunity for Melbourne Victory. The break there, Villapille did so well to open up the space. Leighton Brooks maybe should have played the ball in behind.
And there's live pictures of the Socceroos in camp in Kuwait, watching the Melbourne derby. Early morning in Kuwait. Matt Leckie to join us right after this. Is Raphael, the debutant. Broxman does very well. He blocks him under plenty of pressure, the veteran. A player almost half his age, Raphael, trying to win it. Matt Leckie coming up right after this.
Tell you what, Lee Broxton was a bit frustrated there because he thought that was a foul, but again, Marco Tilio with a beautiful little flick over the top of the defence there. And Raphael was just a little bit slow, but Lee Broxton did well to come across. And all the boys at the Socceroos in there, I say a big hello, obviously, to Ryan McGowan. If you're listening, mate, well done.
What a moment this is for young Max Caputo. A terrific shift from Raphael, the 17-year-old. Starting debut today for him. And Max Caputo, 15 years of age. 15 years and 293 days to be exact. Almost the youngest player ever to play a senior game for Melbourne City. That record held by Idris Abdullani, 15 years and 216 days.
Well, I tell you what, when Diogo Ferreira was training in 1v1, I said to him, this kid's got some talent. And, you know, a couple of years later now, he's playing for Melbourne City, making a debut at 15.
9 goals in 8 games in the NPL for Melbourne City. Spent some time at Essendon Royals as a junior. Your club now, Archie Thompson.
Yep, and he actually did come to my holiday program with Diogo Ferreira. It was a glimpse moment, a glimpse of, you know, his future. And I tell you what, he was outstanding when he was there. And it's so great to see him take that next step.
Well, the future of Australian football on show this afternoon in the Melbourne derby. Here's Aidan O'Neill. Now Scott Jamison. Some of the veterans combining. Griffiths gives it away. Villapille. Here's a terrific opportunity for the equaliser for Victory. Villapille's shot takes a deflection. Rudy Jested was making the run. decided to go for the shot. Was that the right option, Archie Thompson?
I think that the way that Roston Griffiths came across, he almost put Villapille in two minds, whether just to keep going with the speed. Just kind of almost stunted that run a little bit and couldn't really generate any purchase on the shot. But for Roston Griffiths, he did so well to come across.
Berenguer, cut out by Broxham. Butterfield, Lee Broxham makes a run. He knows what's at stake. 5 minutes plus injury time for Victory to find an equaliser. Brooks. Leighton Brooks. Stopped in his tracks by Scott Jamieson.
He was almost waiting for his teammates to make forward runs. You could see Jested making it, but probably didn't have the speed to be able to play a ball in behind that he can get onto.
Tilio. Now Adrian Luna. Berenguer. Gurucho to Jamieson. Scott Jamieson in no rush. He knows what this means, this result. For a club that has inflicted so much pain on him over his history, Scott Jamieson. He'll want this 3 points in the bank. Cruz in the middle of the park wins the free kick. Quickly taken now for Leighton Brooks. Early ball in by Brooks. I thought he was trying across there and just couldn't get his foot around it, Archie.
Yeah, I think he had more time than what he thought to maybe attack that space and deliver a better ball. Almost just too quickly there, and there was no one really in the 18-yard box.
Well, not too many people can say they've got family watching in the stadium today, but Leighton Brooks does his Butterfield with a shot from long distance. Leighton's dad, of course, on camera 1 this afternoon for Fox Sports. Here's another substitution for Melbourne City. Lesiotis will be the latest one to come in for Florent Berenguer.
Yeah, Lesiotis, another ex-Melbourne Victory player. Obviously signed with Western Sydney Wanderers and finds himself back at Melbourne City. Such a great little talent. For him, it's probably more game time, getting used to the speed of the A-League. What a great opportunity for him to be part of a team that can go far in this final series.
Time running out for Melbourne Victory. Newcastle Jets fans will be watching this one as well. Their team will avoid a wooden spoon should the result stand as is.
And look, Melbourne Victory have had their opportunity just then. Had 2 wonderful chances. There's still a lot of football still left in this game. At the moment, I just don't see anything, no urgency, especially in that front third for Melbourne Victory.
Cruz has a wall of Melbourne City players in front of him. He can't get through. Terrific flick by Lesiotis. The ball forward by Lesiotis, I should say. Caputo with the flick. Lesiotis, the youngsters combining. Now Lesiotis inside the area. Flag goes up. Melbourne Victory try again.
Caputo with a beautiful flick around the corner. Lesiotis, just a little heavy touch. But again, it's that young quality players that Melbourne City possess. That composure when a ball comes to them to pick the right decision.
Traore forward for Cruz. Couldn't find him Nuno Race with the clearance.
This is what Melbourne City do so well. They just play out games.
Griffiths gives it away. Leighton Brooks looking for the pass, couldn't find it again. That was a great opportunity. Roston Griffiths gave the ball away. Victory couldn't take advantage. 90 minutes gone, 3 remaining.
Commentators curse. I was just about to say they play out the game well, and then Roston Griffiths gives up an opportunity. But again, it's having that composure in that front third, making the right decision. And for Leighton Brooks, he probably just should have slowed down a little bit, size up what's in front of him.
Here's Caputo. Finds Tilio. Nice play by Melbourne City at the far post. It is the second goal. And Melbourne City make it 2. Anthony Lesiotis consigns Melbourne victory to their first ever wooden spoon.
Well, it's a beautiful one-touch football. Question marks about Galloway being offside, but again, he makes that run inside. And when you play that quick one-touch football, so hard for any defender to follow their players. And Lesiotis comes to the back post, gambles, and he's on the end of a wonderful Melbourne City goal.
Now, VAR is having a look at this. But Lesiotis coming on in a matter of minutes with a final touch at the far post. Former Melbourne Victory player. How's that for irony?
Look, I might have, if you look back on this VAR check, I wonder if Scotty Galloway might have been just a little bit offside. He doesn't think so. Obviously looking at me up in the commentary box, but it was that silky bit of football that we've seen all year from Melbourne City. Oh, he's onside there.
Yeah, he is onside, but what about there?
Oh, might be just an inch offside, I think, Lesiotis.
So it's not the first pass, but the second for Anthony Lesiotis. Was he ahead of Scott Galloway? So the goal will not stand. Overturned. Melbourne Victory with a chance. Time is ticking. Is that the bit of luck they need to turn this around and avoid last place on the table? They have a set piece to do it here. Will Matt Acton go forward? Time is ticking. Acton asking for how much time left. There'll be another minute, you'd think, with the VAR decision stopping. Butterfield with the ball, Glover with the double fist. Barnett to Leighton Brooks. Misses his pass. Will that be it? There is the decision. It was for that first pass, Galloway. Just caught offside.
Gee, it was close, I tell you what. But what beautiful football from Melbourne City. And that pressure just now didn't really allow Brooks any sort of time to make a decision.
Last roll of the dice for Melbourne Victory to avoid last spot on the table. Jesten can't win the header. Velupile maintains possession under pressure, does well. Leighton Brooks. Delivery not good enough. They get another chance. Barnett. Jesten tries to win it. Corner kick Melbourne. Will they have time to take it? They will. Surely this is it. Matt Acton advances. 30 seconds remaining. You can hear the players talking to each other. Will this be a dramatic end to the final derby? Butterfield. Header. Barnett still in play. Still in play. And Melbourne victory with the last kick of the game. Leighton Brooks scores the equaliser. Unbelievable at Amy Park. What an end. And it ain't over yet for victory season.
I tell you what, we've still got someone on camera 4 because I reckon he's just run down to the ground to celebrate with his son. But I tell you what, it was just bouncing around in that 18-yard box. It just couldn't get cleared. And Leighton Brooks, with probably one of the finishes that will be talked about in Melbourne victory history when you're talking them not claiming the wooden spoon. But I tell you what, a lot of fans at home for Melbourne victory, but we're really happy with that strike.
You can see what it means to them. They climb off the bottom of the table, Melbourne victory, with that late equaliser from Leighton Brooks. For the moment, Melbourne victory avoid their first ever wooden spoon. 1 game remaining. Newcastle have a chance against Melbourne City next week, but full time here in the derby. Drama. Melbourne victory 1. Melbourne City 1. It didn't disappoint the Melbourne derby this year, Archie Thompson. We've seen it all.
Wow, what a way to turn a game. When you think of both teams and where they are, for Melbourne victory, that was just as important. I know it's been a tough